So let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little occult chat. This is your host, The Occult View. Wait a minute. I messed something up. Let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little occult chat. This is your host, The Occult View. You know, um, it's 3 in the morning, and this is usually my time to really, meditate when the world is quiet and there's nothing but quiet and silence around you. This is the best time for me to do whatever type of work, which is whatever my work is that I do, which I don't really, reveal too much of, online because that's my own personal business. Your spiritual work is your own personal business. But let's have a little chat, shall we? There's a whole lot of shit going on, isn't it? I want to talk about emotional and spiritual intelligence again. I want to talk about that again because that seems to be lacking in my nose is stopped up. I need a where is it? I need a Halls. My allergies are always acting up. DC has the worst. DC is one of the worst places you can live, and that's been documented if you suffer with allergies because of the climate here in DC. There's a lot of pollen and there's a lot of stuff. But anyway, there's a whole lot of things going on. But let me tell you this first. Let me tell you this first. Here lately, I have been experiencing the most intense feelings of euphoria. And I really can't explain it. And for people who don't know what euphoria or euphoric feeling is, it's a very positive, good feeling. It's a feeling of bliss. Where's my, It's a feeling of bliss. And I can't really explain it. Excuse me, y'all. I can't really explain it. All I know is I've been feeling really, really good. And I have to say that I have not felt this good in a long time. I'm going to be 44 in a couple of weeks. And I feel like I'm 25 years old. And I'm not saying that as a cliche or to sound cool or to try to, deny my age that I'm getting older. It's not that. I actually feel younger now than I did when I was actually 25. I feel better now, more grounded now than I did when I was 25. And I actually feel more youthful, more energetic, more optimistic, more balanced in my energies. You know what I mean? A lot of those heavy emotions that I was experiencing, they seem to have dissipated. I mean, sometimes they're still there. See, with me, I don't run away from a challenge or a fight. I don't run away from negative emotions or negative thoughts because I want to understand them. I don't run away from negative energy because I want to understand it. I'm talking about negative energy that may arise within myself. And I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for anybody out there. So I don't want to hear no motherfucking, remarks. I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about any motherfucking body else. This is my spiritual journey. I don't give a fuck about nobody else's spiritual journey but my own. I mind my motherfucking business, and I would advise other people to mind theirs. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Um, I do know what's happening though. I can't say that I don't. I know what's happening. What's happening is that I'm facing my demons. I'm not running from them. I'm facing my demons. I'm facing my so-called darker side. And what I'm realizing is that they're not so scary after all. And I am merging my darker side with my so-called lighter side. And there's a harmonic balance with that's within me. Because as I stated earlier, I don't run away from negativity. I embrace it so I can understand it and I can balance it out. See, oftentimes people think, misguided people who think they're this or that, they tell you to banish negativity. But the thing is, when you banish it, it's going to come back in another form. And sometimes it can come back in a form of something that is not necessarily noticeable as being negativity, but then you'll find out later on, oh, that was a negative experience. Just like when I was dealing with those conscious niggas over there. You know what I'm saying? They were all, see a grant, they were all, for me at one time. But in actuality, that was a negative energy masked with a mask on it. It was masked under positivity. But again, I don't look at it as a bad thing. I look at it as a learning experience. I look at it as a learning experience because and I don't want to sound egotistical or anything like that, but I feel like now, and I'm not talking about no money or anything like that. I'm not talking about money and stuff like that. But I feel like I'm on top of the world. I feel like I know I am. I feel like I'm on a higher frequency because I have battled and dealt with certain negative forces because I didn't run away from them. Now let me say this as a disclaimer because I know people out there get things misconstrued and they'll misconstrue the message. I am not saying that negativity should be, embraced and you should immerse yourself in negativity. What I'm saying is that we need an abundant supply of both positive and negative energy. And when I say negative energy, I don't mean sinister. I mean just the energy, negative, positive. Whatever humanisms we attach to it, that's all on us. That's all in the heart of the spiritual being, how we look at things. There are people who are negative, nasty people, and they use negative forces to try to harm people. I'm not talking about that. And those type of people can and will be dealt with. Because usually what ends up happening to those types of people, like I've seen with certain male spiritualists who I will name, what I've seen is that negativity begins to devour them, no matter what comes out of their mouth. Because people with real spiritual vision can see what these people really are. We can lift up the mask. And that is why, Those conscious niggas couldn't keep me around them for too long because I'm a real seer and I can see people for who they are. That's just like sometimes when people be trying to befriend me and they're baffled and they get in their feelings because I don't give them, the tenderness or the compassion or the love that they think they should be getting from me. And the reason I don't do that is because I can see no matter how nice you are, I can see that you're either an energy vampire or I can see that you are nothing as rotten person. I can see it and I can sense it a mile away. Just like these two lesbians that live in my neighborhood. They keep trying to befriend me, but I don't like them. I don't like them. It's not because they're lesbian, of course. It's simply because they're just some rotten ass people. And I can see crazy in them. And when I see crazy, I go the other way. I go the other way. I speak, I'm cordial and I speak, but I don't want to be friends with you. I don't like people that you see when people try to, that's another thing. When people try to force friendships or force things upon you, that is another telltale sign of their true intentions. And that is a negative, um, unbalanced type of energy. So when I talk about negativity, I'm talking about an imbalance or something that's unbalanced, that has no positive energy to balance it out. Positive energy needs negative energy to balance it out as well. Now, this is my understanding. You know what I'm saying? I think everything needs to have a certain amount of balance because sometimes you have to tap into your darker side for your defenses to defend yourself against spiritual attacks from people. I hate to use Charmed as an example, but I feel like I'm in the eighth season of Charmed where the sisters just did not have to fight demons anymore. They can just live their lives for the most part. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I'm going into that stage. There's no more fighting that needs to be done. I can still report on things and look at things and be like, oh, that's fucked up. But there's no more fighting that needs to be done. And I have been feeling such a feeling of bliss that it's unimaginable. It's one of the most beautiful feelings that I can possibly imagine. And I'm not living in the clouds. I know that there are negative things that happen in the world, but some of these things keep a certain balance in the world too. And as hard as it is for people to understand that, we need balance. It's just that negative energy on this planet has become harming people, harming children, harming women, harming men, harming gays, harming transgender people. You get what I'm saying? Negative energy and its intended purpose. The word negative has become synonymous with something bad. But in actuality, negative energy is just another, it's a polarity of positive energy. But people use it to harm. People use it to manipulate. Emotionally manipulative people, emotionally unintelligent people who claim to be spiritual when they're not. They're not. They're simply just not. But that's what's been going on with me. I've really been, and no drugs. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't smoke cigarettes. I used to smoke cigarettes years ago when I was in my teens and 20s, but I quit when I was 27. I've tried weed a couple of times. A few times it was okay when I tried it, but I really didn't like the feeling after a couple of times. This was years ago when I was a teenager. You know, no mushrooms, none of that. A friend of mine, he's like an expert on mushrooms. I call him the doctor. He's heterosexual. He's a black guy. He has a girlfriend, getting ready to have a baby. He has a wonderful life. And I was telling him about some of my spiritual experiences because he is an elder and an expert And he's not an elder as far as age, but he's an elder because he knows things. He's a wise one. He's in his early 30s, I believe. And I was explaining to him some of the spiritual experiences I was having. He was like, you know what? He was like, you don't need no mushrooms. He said, you don't need them. I said, okay. I figured that, and I don't, because I'm already in tune. You feel what I'm saying? I'm already in tune. I don't have to enhance anything. I'm guided by my own divine spirit, and whatever manifestations of that it may show me. You know what I mean? And I see people putting out misinformation about certain things. And when I hear people talk about initiations and all of that bullshit, first of all, I'm black. I don't have to be initiated into a motherfucking thing. Let me say that again. I am black. I don't have to be initiated into a motherfucking thing. And I can use whatever spirit or deity or demon, whatever the fuck I want. I can use whomever or whatever the fuck I want. That's number one. Number two, can't no fucking human initiate you. You are initiated by the spirit. The spirit is what initiated me and ordained me to do what I do for me. And I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Okay? I work with different energies, different deities. And the only reason I work with them is because they came to me and told me that you are aligned with this particular energy. You can be a patron saint of this type of energy. Can't no human being initiate you into shit. Okay? And a lot of these deities, they started off as black. If people would research and read more, they would understand that. And I'm not going to get into all, when I hear foolish people talk, it's best to let them remain foolish than to correct them. But I saw some misinformation being put out about initiation, and you have to be initiated. I ain't initiating into a motherfucking thing. And I'm not knocking anybody that has to do that, but I am not a cult follower. I have my own cult following. Okay? I have my own cult following. I don't follow no motherfucking body's cult, and I walk to the beat of my own tune. That is the advantage of being a highly advanced spiritual being such as myself. And the ones who really rock with me and the ones who really watch me. We don't need initiation. We don't need that. Some people do. I don't. Why should I initiate into anything that's going to put me in a position where I have to follow someone? There's a lot of misinformation out there because a lot of people are driven by fear, and they're driven by um how can I put this? I was going to say emotion, but I don't want to say emotion because no, they're driven by fear, and they're driven by the lower aspect of the ego, because the ego is not just one thing. The ego has different layers to it, and they're driven by the lower aspect of the ego. I live in bliss for the most part. So no, initiation, that's only for people who need someone to follow. You do what it's do as thou wilt. We all have God inside of us. The kingdom of heaven is inside of all of us, as the Bible would say. And I don't want to quote scriptures, but you know what I'm saying. So don't nobody need no motherfucking initiation unless that's what you want to do. And I don't like people trying to diminish people on their spiritual journey by saying that they need to be initiated into this and you have to be this ethnicity to talk to this deity or to that deity. No, you don't. No, you don't. Not if you're black, anyway. And I don't care who gets offended by that because I have information that I'm not putting out, but I know information because people don't really research information. They think they know, but they don't. And a lot of people do this shit. That's just like a lot of people don't like black people. I remember a few years ago when people were talking about how people threw work at Bobby Hemmett because he was telling black people that you don't need to be initiated into anything. I wish the fuck any of you motherfuckers would think about throwing work at me. I wish the fuck you would. I would just, I'm the soul eater. I'm not nice like Mr. Hemmett was. I'm the soul eater. And I'm not making no threats and I'm not bullying anybody. But if you throw work at me, I'm gonna throw work at everybody in your family. Even from the weakest to the strongest. Because people have a right to express what they believe and who they are. But I remember when people were saying that people threw work at him because he was telling black people you didn't need to be initiated into Palo Mayombe, which you don't. Now, people can have that belief that they need to be initiated into it, but you don't have the right to tell me that I have to be initiated into something that I want to do because I don't need your motherfucking opinion and I don't need your motherfucking guidance because evidently it's been working for me. I've worked with several Palo Mayembe deities, but there's one particular one that I work with the most. There's one particular one, and I'm not even going to get into that one. But some of y'all call her the Holy Mother of Death. I'll just say that. And the name that people actually call her, La Santa Sista Moete, that's not even the real name for that deity. That deity is an ancient Aztec deity with another name, but that's the name that we call that energy now with respect and honor. And that's the name that one of the names we call it, La Santa Simia Moete. But did people know that that ties into another more ancient black Yoruba deity? See, people don't understand all of this. So that's why I say, as a black person, I don't have to initiate into a motherfucking thing because everything in existence came from black people, especially the black woman. So when I see a non-black person telling a black woman that you have to be initiated into something, chow bye, mind your business. Then you have people on here threatening people with their ancestors. Girl, whatever. Chow bye. I'm just sitting back watching, just watching what's going on. How do you know that that person that you're threatening with your ancestors, how do you know that they don't have powerful ancestors? You think you're the only one with powerful ancestors? And I ain't knocking nobody's ancestors. I'm just asking questions. Why do we have so many emotionally unintelligent people in the spiritual community? Your spiritual journey should have nothing to do with anyone else and what they're doing, unless that person is coming to you for spiritual guidance or you're going to that person for spiritual guidance. And what I find a lot is that you have others, non-black people who are into spiritualism and they don't want black people to really understand who we are as spiritual beings. Like I said, it was said that work was thrown at Mr. Hemmett for trying to help black people understand who we really are. I don't know whether that's true or not because I've been hearing some other things too here lately, but I'm not getting into that. But I wouldn't put it past it. I wouldn't put it past people doing stuff like that because Paulo Mayombe is a big business. A lot of these people pay money to get into these houses from what I understand. Okay? But don't tell me that I have to be initiated into a motherfucking thing. Fuck your initiation. I'm not saying fuck your culture. I'm saying fuck your initiation. I don't need your motherfucking initiation. These scamming ass motherfucking people online trying to get people into initiations and all that motherfucking shit and get you all wrapped up into that motherfucking energy, and then they want to crown you as a certain deity. You can't crown me, because if I was going to be initiated, I would be a son of Oya and Chango. And Chango is not even the name he uses anymore, by the way. There's a secret name for Chango that I know, because it was given to me from spirit, not from a person. A lot of these people are up under the energy of people. And that is why I know when I hear a lot of you talking about somebody needs to be initiated, that ain't coming from spirit. That's coming from a person. And that is how I know a lot of you people are not spiritually powerful, as you all would say, because everyone is spiritually powerful in their own right. Everyone is spiritually powerful in their own right. And you don't have the right to come and try to deter or to remove a person from their spiritual journey or their path. You don't have the right to do that. And that's really what gets people fucked up. Half of the people that are initiated, they're having so many fucking problems. How come I'm not initiated? I have enough money. I have enough food. I live in bliss. No, life is not perfect, but for the most part, I live in bliss. I'm spiritually and emotionally intelligent. And even though I don't agree with, I don't really rock with those conscious niggas no more. At least they had a point when they were pointing out you don't need no initiation. And even though I don't rock with Panic and them no more, at least Panic did put me on. At least I did make some great connections, through that connection with him that I had back then. I got what I needed, and there was no control. There was no, oh, you got to do this or you got to do. No, it was none of that. I made some great connections over there with them. I did. And I'm always, gracious for that. I may not like them now as people because we had a misunderstanding. They acted like some fucking assholes, but that's okay. Because sometimes, even with that, you have to look at that and say, you know what? That's going to help me grow. And I just don't see any spiritual growth within the religious part of being part of these spiritual systems. I'm not into religion, so why would I be initiated? The spirit initiated me. That's who initiated me. Can't no motherfucker with blood pumping through his veins like me initiate me into a motherfucking thing, nor will they. You ain't gonna crown me on shit. I crown self. I crown me. I put myself up under my own fucking ritual. And I don't give a fuck who that offends. Shit, when I was asleep last night, one of my ancestors came to me, my great grandmother, and communicated with me through symbology. But there are a lot of emotionally unintelligent people out there who claim to be spiritual, and you're really not. You're just operating within humanisms. Somebody tells you that you're initiated, your godfather tells you you're this, your Palero or your Babalao tells you you're this. That's fine if that works for you. But some of us are natural spiritual leaders. I am a natural spiritual leader. And I don't mean leading other people. I mean leading me. Leading me, creating my own motherfucking reality. So I wanted to tell people out there, and I don't give a fuck who gets mad. You don't need no motherfucking initiation to do your spiritual work. You don't need no fucking initiation. Get tired of people with that bullshit, that scamming ass bullshit, just because they don't want black people to know who we really are. Or they don't want you. Doesn't matter if it doesn't even matter if you're not black. They don't want you to know who you really are. So what they'll do is, oh yeah, you got to pay me $5,000 if you want to be initiated into my whatever. Keep that $5,000 in your motherfucking pocket and go and read you a couple of books or two. Shit. Now, I'm not really all for spiritual books and stuff, but when I say read books, I mean to gain some insight. I don't mean go by the book verbatim, but to understand some of these deities and understand their real ancient names and who they really are. Because I heard one person talk about, oh, you can't call them by this name when that's not even the real name. You don't really know the real names for a lot of these deities. We're using colonized names. And a lot of these deities that are used in Palo Mayombe, they were brought over from Nigeria during the slave trade, and the black people had to really mask them as white deities so they could continue to practice their spiritual practices. Otherwise, they would have been killed. So some of these white saints are really white. They're mask. It's a white mask, basically, what I'm saying. Underneath that white mask, you'll find a black deity. You will. A lot of people don't even know that Chango is a form of Christ. I'll give you that much. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but Chango is a form of Christ. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't even know that Santa Sima Moete is a darker form of Isis. A lot of people don't know that because a lot of these deities are synchronized with each other, and you're not going to get that from a book. You're not going to get that from a Babalao or Palero. You get that from the spirit. So fuck your initiation. I'm black. I'm black. Some people say I look Dominican. So I can do what I do. And I've been getting that a lot lately, that I look Dominican. I don't know what that is, but some people say I look Dominican. I don't know. But fuck your initiation. I'm not saying fuck your spiritual practices, but fuck your initiation. I don't have to be initiated into a motherfucking thing. Okay? And like I said, you throw something at me, I'm going to throw something at everybody in your motherfucking family. From the strongest to the weakest. They don't call me the soul eater for nothing. Okay? And I'm not just going to eat your soul either. There are other aspects of you that I will devour because I am the devourer of those who try to harm. I'm about justice and revenge. Okay? I don't play. I don't play. But if I was to crown myself, I would be a son of Oya or Chango. That's who I would be, and can't nobody tell me anything any motherfucking different. Now, I'm not knocking, the spiritual practice of Paulo Mayombe or anything like that, but what I am knocking is people trying to tell people that they have to be initiated into spirituality, especially when I have witches and wise women in my family, going all the way back to my great, great, great grandmother, who was a full-blooded Native American Cherokee. Her daughter was a witch too. my great grandmother. She used to make this. My aunt, my great aunt was telling me that my great grandmother, who raised her actually, used to make this stuff out of lamb oil or something like that because my aunt had asthma and she would rub it on her chest or something like that, or liver oil, something she was telling me. So nobody can tell me about me more than my family and more than my spirits. Okay? Nobody. So fuck that initiation bullshit. And like I said, I don't give a fuck who gets mad about it. It is what it is. Here's another thing I want to talk about. You know, that river boat brawl that took place, you see a lot of black people happy about what happened. And if it was real and if it wasn't orchestrated, I get it. And when I say black people, I'm not really talking about, your average black person per se, but some of them too. So we all know what happened with that riverboat brawl that took place in, I believe it was Montgomery, Alabama. And if we take it as face value, yes, I believe those white people were racist. I looked up their store that they allegedly owned. The place was absolutely filthy. The floors were dirty. I would not buy anything out of those filthy, disgusting stores that they owned. They looked absolutely horrible. And there was a man walking around in the store with a KKK hood on. So, yes, I believe they were racist. Whatever. But what I don't understand is this with black people. This is what I don't understand. It was the same thing with Black Lives Matter. They see black people participating in some forms of unity, and now all of a sudden, you all want to point to that like we did something so great. No, we didn't do something so great. It was those, if this shit is real and not orchestrated, it was those particular black people that did something that was so great. It was those black people that did it. So I went on Facebook and I saw people like, that old gargoyle Cora Masters Barry. I saw her posting a video of some guy quoting something that Malcolm X said that basically they were trying to say prophesized the riverboat brawl that took place, a couple of weeks ago, a week ago, whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, most of these black people, including Cora Masters Barry, probably including that guy who posted that Malcolm X quote, most of these niggas have spent the majority of their lives harming, not helping, causing chaos and division amongst other black people. And then what really kills me, they see a situation like this and they talking about, look what we did. Just like this lady that I know named Sweetie, who's a piece of shit. This woman has spent the majority of her life trying to destroy the lives of other black women, particularly. She has spent the majority of her life trying to destroy other black women. And then when, Black Lives Matter started, you go to her, I don't speak to the bitch no more because she don't like me and I don't like her either. She was on her Facebook page and had the nerve to have a Black Lives Matter image on her page. And I thought to myself, when has this bitch ever cared about black people's lives? When has this bitch ever cared about anything concerning black people? Same thing with Cora Masters Barry. She's an opportunist. She's an opportunist. So when I see these fake ass motherfucking black people sitting up like, yeah, look what we did, shut the fuck up. You didn't do anything. Most of you have sat back and you've done exactly what those white people did. You have jumped on other black people in mobs. Black people who were more intelligent than you, black people who were more advanced than you, black people who had more than you would jump on them and try to tear them down emotionally. You will try to tear them down spiritually. You will try to tear them down in each and every way. Now, if that shit was real, I'm not saying that those black people were wrong. I ain't talking about the black people that jumped on those white people for jumping on that black guy. I ain't talking about them. If that shit was actually real, then I'm with them 100% when they for that, because they had no right to all jump on one person. But I have a question. I just have a question. And maybe, I may get into trouble for asking this, and maybe people may disagree with me, but I do have a question. How come we don't see that much force when white men are jumping on black women that way? I'm just asking a question. We saw a bunch of white people jump on a black guy and everybody came to his defense. But how come we don't see that same energy when things like that are happening to black women? How come black women don't have that same support when they're being targeted racially and harassed racially by white men and white women? It doesn't matter if it's one, it doesn't matter if it's two. But you don't see that same support. And I'm not saying that man shouldn't have gotten it, but I'm just asking a question. I'm just asking a question. I'm just asking a simple question. How come we don't see that same energy when a black woman is victim of that type of stuff? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. Just asking. Not trying to be rude or nasty, but I'm just asking. So when I see all of these black people talking about, oh, that's us. No, that was them. That wasn't you. You sitting in the comfort of your home, you know, and you're trying to be a Facebook activist. Like most of these motherfucking niggas trying to be Facebook activists while they sit behind their air conditioners, eating their steak dinners and making and trying to make lives a living hell for other black people. But yet you sit up and see something like that and you talking about, oh, look what we did. But you're just like those white people. You're just like them. You're just like them. Cora, you ain't no fucking different than them. And to that dude that posted that. Get off of Malcolm X's scrotum. Get off of it. You keep posting quotes, and then you got these niggas pointing temple to taking their finger and their index finger, and they're pointing it to their temple, because that's supposed to mean infusing yourself with knowledge in your head, because that's what Malcolm X did, and none of these niggas are doing that. They're just following something that they see somebody else do, but they're really not infusing their minds with any knowledge. Not any real spiritual knowledge. Malcolm X was talking about spiritual knowledge, not just carnality. He wasn't just talking about, he was talking about spiritual knowledge, something that a lot of you all don't have because you're blinded by the fake illusionary antichrist light of initiation and trying to follow behind somebody and be up somebody's butt crack. As far as that stuff that's going on with Lizzo, I really don't know what to believe. But I will say this. Some people say they believe it. Some people say they don't. I don't know what to believe. I don't know Lizzo. But what I will say is this. We don't know these people. We don't know these celebrities. We don't know anything about them. We only know what they want to show us. We don't work with them. We don't have an intimate relationship with them. So the mask that they put on for the world is not the same face that the people who actually have intimate interaction with them sees. Just like with my friend, the late great Christopher Barry. Christopher had a certain face that he showed to the world. But when he was with me, he was something totally different. And that wasn't a bad thing. Let me be clear about that. It wasn't a negative thing or anything to cause concern. But I can definitely see the difference in his energies when he was public versus when he was private with me. When he was private, well, I'm not going to get into how he was privately with me, but that's personal. But he was definitely different. And again, it's not a bad or negative thing. The difference was not bad or negative. It was actually very good. So I don't know what Lizzo is capable of. I don't know if those allegations they're making against her are true. But like I said, we don't know these celebrities. And a lot of times we get caught up with this illusionary light that we have to that we have to hold on, that we hold on to this ideology or this mindset that they can do no wrong and that they're perfect and they don't have flaws. They have flaws. Celebrities have flaws. All of them do. Beyonce, all of them do. Jay-Z, Puff Daddy, all of them have flaws. So I'm not willing to dismiss that what these women are saying about her. And it's so interesting. We believe men, but when women say things sometimes, we oftentimes dismiss it. You know what I'm saying? We believe whatever some of these men say. But when women are saying, and these, and I'm mainly talking about one of my relatives, oh, I don't believe what them bitches say. Lizzo wouldn't do that. How do you know? How do you know? How do you know she wouldn't do some of those things? I'm not saying that she did, but I'm just asking a question. How do you know for a fact? How do you know? You don't know. You don't know. We don't know these people. We don't know. Hmm. Alien disclosure. Hmm. The guy that was testifying before Congress about aliens and stuff like that, saying that the U.S. government has information that they've not been releasing to the public for years and years and years about UFOs, whatever, whatever. Is it me or does he look like an alien to you? Something about his eyes. Is that the alien right there? Has anyone ever questioned that? What is the Speaker of the House's name? Kevin McCarthy? He does not look the same. I went back and looked at pictures of him from when he was younger. He looks drastically different. What is wrong with Kevin McCarthy? Is that even the same Kevin McCarthy from back in the day? Because the Kevin McCarthy now has a darker His eyes are darker. It's like there's no life in there, no light, no substance. When I look at his pictures from years ago, he had a light about him. He doesn't even look the same. But you all want me to be distracted by riverboat brawls and bullshit like that. You all want me to be distracted by some motherfucking initiation that ain't worth a motherfucking damn no goddamn way. You want me to be distracted by that, right? This is the Occult View, and this is your host, the Occult View, and that's all I have to say. You can like it, you can love it, you can hate it. I really don't care. The only thing I ask you to do is to use your own mind and use your own judgment, and don't be part of the cult. Thank you.